welcome to BJ Security Command. This is our second episode, straight 2 weeks coming up. Um, my name is Joshua, and I'm excited to bring you this another episode. I'm here to talk about an exciting journey of an international student into cybersecurity. Now, today is exceptional because this is a branch of security that we all don't pay attention to, that it's not known out there to many people. So when you talk about cybersecurity, everybody's talking about blue teaming, everybody's talking about red teaming, penetration testing, hacking. That's what we all know, or that's what it's known to be out there. But there are some specifics, or there are some part of cybersecurity that's out there that people don't know about. People like you don't know about it, and you also know that it exists. And the person sitting to me and sitting next to me right here is someone that had delved into it, has created a path for herself, and she's super amazing in that arena. So today she's going to tell us about how she got into that space, how she found out about it, the struggles she's gone through, the success stories, and what is coming up for her. So without wasting much time, I'll just roll over to her to introduce herself, to tell us who she is and what she does. So please.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and happy to meet you. And so thankful to Josh for the opportunity to share today. So, we are going to have a conversation, and we are seizing this opportunity to also learn with you. So, when you watch the video, drop your comments, let us know some things that probably we should also consider because I want to learn from you too about those fields in cybersecurity that probably aren't spoken about too much. So, like you shared, my name is Lily Edinam Botsyoe. I'm from Ghana, and I'm also a student here at the University of Cincinnati. So, I'm a grad student in IT, and right now my focus is really at the intersection of technology and people. And the hint Joshua gave you was actually about the area of GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. And then I'll share with you how I ventured into this area and how the path was pretty much not conventional. I didn't know what it was till, I just began looking into it some more to see what career prospects were in the space.
Right. So to get it started off, tell us how you got interested in cybersecurity.
Absolutely. So you know how you are sometimes pretty much curious and you land into things without knowing what they are, right? That was me. And I'll tell you about it. So I did my undergrad in computer science at KNUST. KNUST is the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So in school, my dad tells me if they're doing anything on campus, that seems exciting, provided you're not doing any wrong, go join them. And so I got introduced to many groups on campus, and one of those was the Internet Society KNUST caucus on campus.
Okay.
And so we began doing some of these trainings where they teach you about. In fact, the thing that introduced me or made me to start thinking about cybersecurity was pretty much the word hacking.
Okay.
Maybe you just heard hacking and you're thinking, okay, what exactly are we talking about? But it was pretty much hacking that made me think about cybersecurity. So my very first entry on knowledge into the space was the word hacking. And it was through one of those training sessions where they're talking about passwords and all of that. And in that training, really, we were looking or using the software called John the Ripper to crack weak passwords on
Right.
campus.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you joined Internet Society and you heard about hacking, were you thinking about being a hacker, or you were just trying to like explore the options?
Yeah, mainly trying to explore. I mentioned curiosity, so I was just curious to know what they were doing.
Okay.
So people would think about hackers and it's the hoodie. In fact, even if you look at me, you probably not say she does anything tech. People like colored, your hair has colored, you have colored hair, you have white nails and all of that. But pretty much it was just me being curious. And this is me entering the room and looking at what people are doing, and somebody says, "Oh, I found 6,000 passwords," and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And they're saying you're using a software to crack passwords. So I joined them, and they showed me the steps. I get a software, we go through the processes, and there I knew that okay, there's information that is online that probably we don't need to see, but because it's not well protected, we get access to see it. So I also started the process, and guess what? I've got more than 6,000 passwords that were cracked, and these are weak dictionary words.
Wow.
So people are using sniper 123 or cyber girl or something of the sort. So it got me to think about okay,
1, 2, 3.
Nana 123, all the anniversaries, the birthdays, and all of that. Yeah, and it got me to just see how there's some things that are online that aren't supposed to be seen by people, but people can chance on it because there were some things, maybe control that were not set, or maybe on the part of the person they didn't adhere to it so much.
Right.
So it's in plain sight for people. Yeah, so that was what I understood from that training.
So you did computer science in Kwame Nkrumah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now you've done computer science.
Yes.
You've had an insight through Internet Society. And then you had a master's program.
Information technology.
At University of Cincinnati. Tell us about that.
Right. So, computer science has all this focus on software, building software, and trying to deploy, launch, and all of that. So when I finished my undergrad, computer science was exciting, and pretty much for us who our initial plan wasn't to go into computer science, right? So we entered into computer science and we had to learn in the class. So many people are maybe medical school rejects like I am, but this is a field that has pretty much opened my eyes to the diverse field that exists and how technology is subtly woven into every facet of our life right now.
Right.
So from computer science, we're introduced to things in networking, in database, in Java programming. We even learned some old programming languages that's probably may not be useful now.
I've
We
learned so many of those.
exactly we looked into all of those. So when I finished computer science, in fact, I think in my final year, it was becoming so clear what it is we're doing in class because of the extracurricular activities I was doing. I was in internet society, learning some of these things, and it became pretty exciting. So when I was learning networking, the networking was not too far-fetched because at the time I was also learning something about building community network, also facilitated by the Internet Society. So when we are doing subnetting in class, I just remember some of the things that the people said on the call, and it becomes exciting for me. Now, transitioning from computer science into IT, people wonder why, right? Like I said, we have the
Because
software,
like
but
from moving from tech to someone like lighting.
lighter, yeah. So, but the thing about it is, when you do computer science, you appreciate machines and systems and maybe networking part of things. You appreciate it so well. When you do IT, it brings into focus the idea that there are people who are using it. So it
Okay.
brings users into perspective.
Right.
You don't just build, but you are essentially a practitioner. So
Okay.
think about a researcher and a practitioner. People are in IT, people are researching to see what is an issue or what is a problem and how can we find a solution to that problem. And then there are the practitioners who probably have expertise like computer scientists who
Right.
build the solution for them. So that transition from computer science into IT is pretty much to center the work I do on people, make it a human-centered approach so that we are building solutions for people and not solutions that would have to be shelved later in life because probably nobody has a need for it. So pretty much having people at the center of what we do so that the solutions are built for them.
Right. Good. So now, boom, you arrived in Cincinnati. What was the options for you going into that program? Vast amounts of tracks,
Yes.
cybersecurity track, data science track, talking about all the tracks you find in information technology. So what
Yeah.
was the options for you? What was your mindset going into that program?
Right. So I think one of the things that's pretty much set me up for success, I should say, is we had colleagues in here on campus who were telling us what faculty members were interested in. And one of the people who pretty much opened my eyes to the possibilities in this course in UC was Walali, who was your first guest, right? So you can see how tiny of a world it is.
Yes.
So Walali, yes, Walali knows that I love tech policy. And when I say policy, the policy part of things is looking at what exists as resources and how are we getting some things like principles to guide the things we do in technology, right? So I loved tech policy because of the things that I was doing around advocating for, say, cybersecurity and awareness of cybersecurity online and just maybe child online protection. All of those were exciting to me. So what I said, if you have interest in some of these areas, we have faculty members who also deal in things like privacy, security, IoT, smart homes, smart cities, and maybe you should look them up so that you can work with them.
Right.
So I got interested in working with a faculty member here, and that was what informed my decision in coming into UC and coming into this track where I'm able to do work that is pretty much under the broad umbrella of civic technologies, that is technologies in the service of public needs. And you find out pretty soon that cybersecurity is a big part of what we do in civic technology.
All right. So you just came into the program, and upon the advice of someone,
Yeah.
you decided to create a niche for yourself.
Yes.
So can you tell us some of the courses that you do? Because I know for a fact that some of the courses that you do plays a major role in where you end up,
Yeah.
probably in the work that you do, because they do pay attention to some of these courses. Tell us some of the courses that you did.
Right. So when I came, just like every other international student, when you get admission, that's just a small part of the whole journey. There is a visa part. I was chasing visa up and down. See, I have never been so focused in my life like that visa period. So during that period, I was trying to research as much as I can while I look for dates online and all of that.
Right.
But when I came in late because I was pretty much waiting on the visa the date for me to go for the visa interview. I went for it, and I finally I got it the day I went for it. The next 2 days I was on my way. So during this period, I just wanted to just come and pick what was available.
Okay.
There were classes that were online. There were classes that were also in so when I say online, they were asynchronous, and there were those that you have to be live to take it, live in the class to take it. So when I came, some of those that I wanted to do, I did infrastructure sustainability, and this talks about even virtualization, talks about we working with just things online in in the virtual world, virtual machines. So I did infrastructure sustainability, and it's just really about resources and how we use them, and also how to maximize the use of these resources and to expand or extend the work you're doing even to the virtual world by using the virtual machines and all of that. And that course was pretty exciting. It opened my eyes to the possibilities that maybe system admins know that people who probably work in other fields will not know. So
Right.
that was exciting for me. And I also took some courses in research method. Like I said, the very foundation of starting any work in IT, pretty much even in cybersecurity, because we know you have a lot of data gathering and analyzing data is research. So I took research methods, and this was for me asynchronous, and it opened my eyes to even different ways of doing research, how to get people to also be a part of it, and pretty much how to understand what it is you're doing so you can build for it. So I took that course too, and I was able to take an independent study, like research with my advisor, and in there I was also exploring e-waste for that. And yeah, so that's the first semester. Second semester, I moved on to take courses in cybersecurity, like
Right.
principles of cybersecurity, and I did some work also in um, also just IT seminar. You know, the course IT seminar opened your eyes to the diversity in the field of IT.
Right.
So that was also some of the things I took, and it just opened my eyes to the possibilities. What are the roles that exist? How can you work towards it? So all of those gave me that idea of what the system here looks like and how I can position myself to land in one of them based on my passion. So those, in fact, that IT seminar course would let you analyze what your passion is sort of and what fields exist in that area, and they even tell you to build something like a roadmap for yourself. So you
Yeah.
just came in, you're
Yeah.
building a roadmap for you for things that you're excited about. So all of these courses helped me to position myself to be able to land a role in an area that I'm excited about.
Right. So let's just move a bit.
Hmm.
We come as an international student. Your first point of call is your studies.
Studies, I went straight
Now,
there.
after you've done your studies, now you're thinking about internships. How did you approach that?
Look, I'm going to tell you guys that, like I said, I was very focused during the visa time. Another time that I was very focused was this internship time, and I'll tell you something very interesting about it. You know how you're looking for jobs and you tell your friends, "Look, I'm applying to this role." Your friend says, "Okay, I think that's an interesting role. Maybe you
The
should give it
fancy
a shot." The
roles.
fancy, yeah. Look, my mind went directly to big tech, straight,
Yeah.
because I have this very ambitious goal,
Mhm.
and I was not stopping at anything. So I just went to big tech, and when I was not hearing from them, I was really worried. And when I heard from them, my heart was even the more broken because
Yeah.
I didn't even get
You
in.
wake up rejection.
Rejection. See, in a day I was counting rejections, like, and at a point, somebody told me that when I get rejections, I should archive the rejections and probably go back and just appreciate the journey that maybe I've progressed since then,
Yeah.
right? But this time, I'm like, I didn't even want to see it, and I was deleting the rejection because I was so heartbroken. So it takes some time for you to hear, and when you hear, it's not what you want. You're not even given a chance for interviews, and I'm wondering, what exactly am I doing wrong? Because I speak with other people who probably have been here for some time, and maybe they have their permanent residency, or probably they were born here, and then they get interviews. I'm like, "Ah, is this something? Is this something about my CV, or is this something about where I'm coming from? You know?" And you hear somebody tell you that, look, remove everything that is not US related from it, right?
Okay.
And that's a hint, because you're trying to think even for the selection process, that why am I not getting in? Why am I not getting called? I know I'm able to do whatever has been said on the JD. So why am I not even getting an interview? You
Right.
know? So all of those became so stressful. So the internship time, very, very stressful. My approach was big tech. And I'll tell you that big tech broke my heart. And this is where I did some pivoting. The pivoting is that there are companies that are agencies even for the big tech, or even companies that are not even well known or
Right.
popular. No, when I say well known, they are known around here and even in many other countries, but they're not popular. And these guys are doing amazing work.
Great.
So I began looking to these other companies to see what they have, and I was seeing roles I was excited about, and some of them I'll get some feedback, but most times it was no feedback at all, and that actually would break my heart more than even the rejection. So just tell me fast enough that I didn't get in, so that I get to apply to other places, than to bank on you and I'm not getting information.
That's a
So
message to recruiters.
yeah, yeah, your message, please do us an honor.
Please
I mean, at
respond to
least
us.
please respond.
Respond to us.
We were able to take their rejection in good faith now and move
Yeah.
on. And it will be so sad to not hear at all. And we have very little opportunity to kickstart our CPT.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you want to tell us on time before school probably is in recess and we cannot access the offices on time.
Right.
Yeah, so please, that's something that would be a request.
So, are you suggesting
Mm-hmm.
that as an international student,
Yeah.
I should lower my expectations when
Mm-hmm.
looking for my first internship on big techs and focus on the small companies that are
No,
closer to me?
no, don't. See, there are people who came in, I'm saying that I never even got an opportunity to interview. And I've been joking to my friends that, look,
Mhm.
if I get into an interview, there's nothing that will not make me get it because I feel like I'll probably be able to express some of the work I've done in the past
Right.
that would say
Mhm.
or that would speak to my expertise and get me in, and it will be up to the recruiter to say yes or the
Mhm.
panel to say yes or no. But I know I'll be able to do a good work. So
Right.
sometimes it's just to get your foot into the interview. But let
Mhm.
me tell you that there are some people who came in, international students who also go into big tech, and sometimes it's pretty much many different factors. Some of the people that I've spoken to who go into the big tech and I looked at their CVs, one of the things I can say was a differentiating factor to me is the certifications.
Mhm.
I look at this and these guys have done a certification in something that's related to the role, or yeah, it was a major thing that I saw.
Right.
But it's not for you to lower your expectation. If you can, as much as possible, give it a shot. It's not the same for everyone. But me, I have gone through it. I'm not even going to lie
Mm.
about it. I have really struggled, even though I essentially should be in, like I vet myself as I can do it based on what you're saying, as what you've listed as a JD, but maybe the ATS doesn't think so. So it can
Mhm.
be maybe your CV, it can be how you structure the information, it can be the keywords that is missing out, it can
Mhm.
be not customizing my CV for those particular roles. So
Mhm.
nope, don't lower your standards, but cast your net
What?
broad and
Okay.
wide. Yes,
Mm.
make it
Mm.
wide enough. So
Mm.
don't just limit and look at big tech.
Mm.
All of us who would give everything you can a shot. If you have interest in the area, do that.
All right. So the advice that you gave is don't lower your expectations, but cast your nets wide. All
Absolutely.
right. That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
Now you've done that. Were you able to land one?
Yes, I did. So
Okay.
I was able to land one last year. So remote role with the Intern Society, and I love them because,
Oh, the same
yes.
company you probably sort of
What are the
worked in
odds?
Ghana.
Yes,
Nice.
tell me about it, right?
Mm.
And that leads me to a very important part of the journey of looking for internship. And Joshua, I feel like embodies that. What I'm going to talk about is networking.
Right.
See, you there's somebody who would mention your name in rooms, or there are certain recommendations that will put
Mm-hmm.
one foot in the door,
Mm-hmm.
and you go in to kill it because you are able to speak to your expertise.
Right.
So somebody will mention your name, and then you go there, they're able to say, I'm able to do this like this person has mentioned because
Mm-hmm.
I have this and this and that. And when I come onto your team, I'm able to learn and I also contribute these competencies to your team,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I began doing, I remember I was so my heart, I was already talking to the intern society, but at the time they said they didn't have any open roles, right?
Right.
So I went in and I was also just networking with the people I knew from the
Mm-hmm.
past, and the need came up. What are the odds? I just went to talk and ask, and they didn't have roles, right? But a need came, and I was able to join the information security team, and I joined there as an information security program manager intern. So
Right.
working with the team that were just rallying effort around the
Mm-hmm.
security related stuff in the
Mm-hmm.
company. So that was one thing that I was able to network, request and see if there was any role. And when the need came, they told me. So that was pretty much something that made me excited because I was searching and there was a company that had a role and I was finally able to attend, and it opened my eyes also to the style of working for companies based in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a whole new level of learning. You have to learn many things and you will learn also a lot, and your skills would also benefit them too.
Mm. So let me look at your resume.
Hmm.
So when someone wants to go through the red teaming route, they are asked to build labs, they are asked to do something physical. Now, someone doing GRC,
Hmm.
what sort of projects do you sort of engage in
Hmm.
to put on your resume?
Right. So GRC is, you people may look at it as like
Mm-hmm.
a more planning focused and probably maybe a softer side, but
Mm-hmm.
let me say, not a softer side. The governance is a whole thing. You want to
Right.
know, like, an overview of what's happening, who's in charge, when something happens, who should we call, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. The risk side is risk management and assessment. So
Mm-hmm.
you're assessing what could be a risk, threat, vulnerabilities, all of those.
Mm-hmm.
You're also assessing to see, are we able to take on a certain level of risk? Are we able to?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to transfer it? Do you have to avoid it? What are the possibilities? Anything that would make maximize company's effort and not also waste money. So it's like value for money in whatever you're doing. And then the compliance part, this is the part where, I've been questioning myself, do I need a degree in law? Do I
Mhm.
need to know all of those things, right? And
Mhm.
I've gone to people to ask them, people on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I'm so thankful. I'll tag you for maybe when the video comes out.
Yeah, sure.
Donna and Erin. Donna, I think, is with I've forgotten the company, so sorry, but Erin is also with Google. She works in trust and safety.
Mhm.
These ladies have poured into my journey, telling me that look, that part, there's a part for people who are in the technical field who can play also in compliance. So the
Mhm.
compliance part is also a blend of many things. So let me tell you what happened for me who wanted to go into GRC, and then
Okay.
on
No,
the
please go
yeah,
ahead.
on the interview they asked what have you done or what are
Mhm.
some of the things you've done
Mhm.
that make you suitable for this role.
Right.
So I had been exploring NIST and CIS. NIST is
Okay.
the I think is the National Institute of Standards and Technology,
Right.
and CIS is like Center for Internet Security or so.
Yeah, they can look it up.
Yeah, more like but NIST and CIS, these are framework, but I just want to get the acronyms right. And these are frameworks and control. They're not mandatory, but they are frameworks and controls that are essential for businesses and to see that what you're doing pretty much aligns with laws around your place and they're helpful for the people who are interacting with your
Mhm.
business and can also protect their personal data and all of that. So when I was asked a question like that, I told them that I had been exploring some of these framework and I'm able and in the past because I've been in the internet governance space, I have been in roles or even discussions where we look at what best fits for these for a business and even for even in national settings what is helpful for just information gathering and information sharing and just the work that people do in tech and technology on a national level. That was a national level, but because I've been exploring instances, we also had this project before. It
Mhm.
was for our lab, and in the lab there were people working along those lines of just controls and framework, and they've been mentioning it. So I just thought to look it up and learn. So when I mentioned those, they're like, yes, because they're working in security and because they work with many different people in different time zones. Some of this framework is helpful for them because they're able to customize their work under those framework. Those are just best practices, right?
Okay.
And able to make sure that they're compliant and working on a global scale in a way that's also protecting the people they're interfacing. So that was me showing a part of my knowledge that I knew. So I told them that I had looked into this and I was able to get through the steps to just um, getting companies protected so that there's more like a proactive way to protecting the information rather than something that happens and you have to now find a way to curb it and
Mm.
then your information is already out or your data is already out there and there's a breach already.
Mm.
So when I shared this and they're like, okay, those frameworks are important for our working, and so we'll have to explore that further.
Mm.
And then the rest of it was pretty much program management part. So how are you able to rally stakeholders
Okay.
to for them to be able to come on board
Mm.
and to see what is a need for the company.
Mhm.
So I told them that I'm able to engage with stakeholders. And in fact, I didn't know that at the time they wanted to do things around business impact analysis. But my ability to gather stakeholders was also one part of the skills that they needed for that role.
Oh,
And so they brought me on board. Yeah.
so you didn't have only the knowledge, but you have
Yeah.
some soft skills,
Some soft skills.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very important.
Very important.
Okay.
I mean, even if you are going to be behind pieces doing maybe doing threat forensics,
Mhm.
doing what Joshua likes, SecOps, and all of that,
Mhm.
you still have to engage with people. See, there's a big part or there's a huge human component in the whole cybersecurity thing, especially if you're interfacing with like teams and also building for say users.
Right.
There's that bit in it. So
Mm.
once you're learning and using all the tools you're using, please make sure that you're considering users in mind and building, and make sure you relate to the team in a way that is very useful. Stakeholders are needed all across every cybersecurity process. Essentially, you work with people, and they'll feed into your process. Your process will also feed into theirs. So
Mhm.
communication and those soft skills of relating with people are also very important. Even soft skills of being very observant, because some things happen and pass over people's heads because they're not too observant. The focus was not there.
Mhm.
Some breaches are also because. There are people observing, or maybe there's a tool that's also capturing, and the tool will do it, but you also have to go through to see what the tool has captured, be very observant, be very detail oriented
Mhm.
to make sure that you're protecting the company. So essentially, there is that soft skill that probably will not look as very
Mhm.
technical, that's also needed in the field that you're in, yeah,
Mm.
for cybersecurity.
So, enlighten me on this. In GRC,
Hmm.
as an international student applying for roles, are you also being met with the work authorization,
Mm-hmm.
visa, kind of like
Yeah.
embargo or something.
Yes. So, cybersecurity has very detailed classified information, all of these things that
Mm-hmm.
you probably they probably would want to be safe with people that they can trust and all of that.
Right.
And for us international students, look, your clearance they'll look into they'll look into whatever you have as clearance so much. I have friends who couldn't work at NASA even though they had like very good skills because they didn't have clearance.
Okay.
And some of the companies would look a lot into what you have as a clearance before they
Mm-hmm.
have you on.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I didn't have that because look, the company is also actually a global company,
Mm-hmm.
and they have workers working across the globe. So essentially, my skills was my skills were pretty much be very security oriented
Mm-hmm.
and do the work as detailed as possible. But I was not going to be getting access to classified information. So there are some people that dealt with those levels. I just pretty much was building and ensuring that whatever we
Mm-hmm.
are doing as a program is helpful for every facet of the business. So I'm looking at every business unit,
Mm-hmm.
looking at what they are collecting and advising and making sure that everybody who's a stakeholder understands the need for them to be protected in their process.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, like I said, there's that very big question mark on your head. People will ask you, why cybersecurity in this place that you need clearance for everything?
Mm-hmm.
It is true that it's the case. Some
Right.
companies would probably have you on and maybe work with you to get authorization because they understand your skills and they need you to come on board to do it. But there's some other areas that you can get in,
Mm-hmm.
and if you wanted to transition, you can transition and get a clearance. But like I said, it's a big one. But don't lower expectations. You've got to shoot your shot, and if you don't, you miss all the shots you've not taken.
Mm. So true.